Hey everybody, it's your Sam and I'm here with another video. Today I want to do the name game book tag. I was tagged a long time ago by Lauren. She is a wonderful friend of mine here on AuthorTube, and a link to her channel and her video will actually be down below. It has taken me a while to get to this tag and I do apologize. It's just been a weird year because that's what it is. And I hope that those of you watching this will go ahead and do it if you haven't already. Again, it has been a while, so most of you have probably done it. What this is I'm going to use my name, which is not going to be my channel name. It's going to be Samantha Wicker. And for each letter, I am going to name a book that I have read that has had some kind of impact on me. You don't necessarily have to do books that have done an impact on you. It's just books that you've read. But I went a little step further because narrowing down books per letter was difficult in and of itself, except for one letter. Apparently I don't like reading books with the letter K in the title, but you know, here we are. Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you, Lauren, for tagging me. And for S, I have Sandman. I don't think that this needs any explanation. For those of you that have read Sandman, you probably know why this is on my list. It just so happens to be the #1, and Sandman is an amazing story. It's an amazing collection of stories. It follows Dream, who is also known as Morpheus, and several other names. Dream is one of the Endless, and the Endless are he and his siblings, who basically have control of different aspects of our world. They have their own realms as well. Dream has the dream world. I don't know how to really explain how deep you can get into this story because it just throws you in. You fall in love with it. You breathe it. Highly recommend Sandman. It's by Neil Gaiman. This next one is also by Neil, and it is American Gods, for the A in my name. American Gods is another one that has amazing storytelling. You are dumped into it. Now, I didn't get quite as into it as I did Sandman, but American Gods is amazing. I have always found the lore of the different gods and goddesses and how they tie in together, how they act together, and all that good stuff fascinating. And Neil just brings out the American gods and just gives them life. He rebreathes life into them, and it's just astounding to me. You follow a main character whose name is Shadow, and he just gets out of prison, which is kind of interesting in and of itself for a fantasy book. And then he finds himself in the service of Mr. Wednesday, and you follow the misadventures that follow Mr. Wednesday and Shadow. Again, amazing book. There is a TV show, but the book is always better, right? Right. For the M in Samantha, I did Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. Mansfield Park is going to be kind of one of my weirder things here. At the time that I read it, it was just escaping the world that you're in, because you follow the main character Fanny Price, who is taken from a life of poverty with her mother and father and siblings and inserted into the world of her aunt and uncle, who is rich and well-to-do. But there are downsides to it as well. Of course there's a little bit of flirtation. There's some new people that come and live next door in the parish, and they bring some trouble with them, and there's trouble with the uncle, and it's questioning morals and all that good stuff. It's a really deep read, and again, it's Jane Austen, so her work it speaks for itself. The next one is going to be another A, and I picked A Silent Voice. A Silent Voice is a manga. It's also an animated series, and it breaks your heart every time you open the page. A Silent Voice follows an actual bully which is something a little bit on the new side, and he bullies a deaf girl. But it shows how the tables turn on him, and it shows how he grows as a person, and also how the girl grows as a person as well. It's just a really intense series. It's lovely to read. Like I said, it'll make you cry, but it is a beautiful, very beautiful read. Next for In is Nana. It's another manga, and Nana holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the first manga that I really got into. Nana follows Hachiko. She is a girl named Nana, and she meets another girl named Nana, and they start living together, and it shows their growth and friendship and just coming together, coming of age kind of thing. It's a slice of life. It's beautifully written. The characters are gorgeous, and yeah, I highly recommend Nana. It's written by Ai Yazawa. I probably butchered the name, but yeah, highly recommend it. The next one is going to be for the T, and it's going to be The Hobbit, because of course it's going to be The Hobbit. The Hobbit is something that I read for the first time maybe in 4th or 5th grade. I can't really remember the time frame, but ever since then I've read it again every 3, 4, 5 years, give or take, and I always find something new that I can take from it, that I can learn from, and it's just amazing. Tolkien has been a huge part of my life for a very long time, and he will continue to be, because his stories are amazing. They are what made fantasy what it is today. Highly recommend if you haven't read it. If you haven't read it, where have you been? I'm going to put a little caveat in here for the T. I'm going to add the Broken Earth Trilogy. I was going to do this at the end of the video, but I thought maybe putting it in the middle would be better. The Broken Earth Trilogy is by N.K. Jemisin, and it is, oh my god, it's right up there with The Hobbit with me. It has impacted me so much that I'm going to be rereading it as often as I have reread The Hobbit, I'm pretty sure. N.K. Jemisin has won awards on this trilogy. She has created this character and this dystopian world that just resonates so hard with you that you get lost in the book. It hits hard, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, pick up the Broken Earth Trilogy if you haven't already. It's on Amazon. It's like 25 bucks for the trilogy. I mean, you can't go wrong. Trust me. Next for H is Hunger Games, and this series of books was amazing. I did not want to read them just because of all the hype that was surrounding them, but eventually I did break down after the hype kind of died down, because that's what I do. The Hunger Games is an amazing series of books by Suzanne, and it's a dystopian, and it's the first kind of dystopian of that type that I read, and it kind of sent me down the rabbit hole. But The Hunger Games is amazing. We all want to be Katniss Everdeen. We all want to be the woman that takes down the man. For the last A is going to be A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sara J. Maas. I have some issues with this series, but it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses because it is a fantasy, and it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. That's how the series starts. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I love Beauty and the Beast, so that's the reason why I picked this up. And like I said, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. It's fairy romance. It's fairy porn. I don't think I need to say more. The first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, is a little bit deeper. There's more emotional and mental play in the book compared to the next few books. So yeah, it has that going for it at least. Now for Wicker, for the W, I do have 2 different books because I want to cheat a little bit. And the first one is Walk to Moons by Sharon Creech. I read this book in middle school, I do believe it was, and it was my first introduction into an author actually writing 2 stories in one book. The way that she did it just was fascinating to me. So you follow your main character, I do believe it's Phoebe is her name, and she is telling a story to her grandparents, I do believe, but you also get her story and how she's coming of age, how she is growing. One story is funny, the other story is really kind of sad, and it moves you, and you don't get lost in either. I mean, you don't get lost. You know, the way those stories are woven together, you know exactly where you are, you know which story you're following, and yeah, highly recommend. Other one for the W is another highly recommended book. It is a nonfiction book. It is called White Fragility. And White Fragility is something that you need to read because it opens your eyes to how you abuse people around you. It might not be meant, but there are some verbiages that we all use that is microaggressions or something that is related to an aggressive verbiage, aggressive wording. So it will open your eyes to more research that you need to do in order to become a better person. Also, it's very informative, and it just needs to be read. For the I, we're going to go back into the lighter note. I put Ink Mage by Victor Gischler. I probably butchered that last name as well. But Ink Mage was a serialization, I do believe, on Kindle. I listened to it as an audiobook, so I don't know how well it is actually physically written or formatted or anything like that. But listening to it, I fell in love with the series. I fell in love with the characters. It draws you into this world, and you root for Rena and her cause and her trying to get her kingdom back. Highly recommend. For C is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I don't really think I need to say much about this because it's kind of like The Hobbit to me. This world of infernal devices is just amazing to me, and it's an urban fantasy, which is, I think this was my second foray into urban fantasy, and I just love it. I just absolutely love it. And the fact that it's set back in the 1800s, again, nothing but love for that. Now, for the letter K, I'm cheating a little bit again because apparently I haven't read very many books starting with K. I'm gonna have to fix that. Anyway, Hana Kimi is another manga series that I absolutely adore. It's all about this girl who moves to Japan and moves into this school of boys. It's an all-boys school, and she's a girl. And the reason why she does that is so that she can get close to her hero, Sano, and yeah, it's all the craziness and silliness and absurdity that ensues with a girl being in an all boys school and trying to hide the fact that she is a girl. Love it. Highly recommend. There is a live action series on YouTube. Alright, for E, I have The Eye of the World. This is another fantasy series, and again, it's going to be made into a TV series. It is being made into a TV series. I do believe there's 4 episodes out as I'm making this video. The Eye of the World, from book 1 to about book 8 or 9, is absolutely wonderful. Then you get kind of lost in 8 or 9, and then the rest is awesome too. So, forewarning, there's a little bit of in there in the middle. But as with any book series that is that long, there's always going to be some moments. And yeah, Eye of the World is amazing. Robert Jordan did a very good job with creating this world, with creating the magic system, with making the reader just fall in love with these characters, and you root for every single one of them. You want each one of them to be the dragon. Alright, so for the last one, the R is Redwall by Brian Jacques. And Redwall holds a special place in my heart because it's cute animals in a fantasy. I mean, come on. What isn't there to love? This is, again, another huge series, and they are really enjoyable. I think there's 20 novels, 22 novels, give or take, and it's just, yeah, they are all amazing. They're adorable, and you are thrown into the world of these animals and their little battles and wars and their lives, and yeah, Highly recommend. That is the name game book tag. If you are watching this video, consider yourself tagged if you have not done this. I do have Lauren's video in the links down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. As always, be kind to one another, stay safe, and keep writing and keep being creative. And I will see you next time.